All right, man.
It ain't bragging if you can back it up.
Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. The show is brought to you by Ole Miss, Georgia, in the college football playoff in the Caesar Superdome tomorrow night. And the Rogue Men's Store here is loaded up with Peter Millar College Football Playoff Collection at the Rogue Men's Store. So go ahead and get your powder blue at the Rogue Men's Store today, and you can wear it tonight or tomorrow or Friday in New Orleans. Peter Millar College Football Playoff Collection, Ole Miss Peter Millar College Football Playoff Collection at the Rogue Men's Store in Jackson in the iconic building, I-55 North Frontage Road. Also, Spring Street Cigars is in the building. Beautiful bar and cigar lounge. We welcome in Mike Detillier, LSU Saints insider, among other things. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line, WWL Radio TV, New Orleans. All right, Mike D, I got to start with, we're going to do a little prediction, Mike D prediction Wednesday. Mike, Ole Miss, Georgia, who wins the game?
Well, we did this yesterday on my show, and I picked Ole Miss. I think they pull off the upset. It's hard to beat a team twice in the same year. And that game, Ole Miss needed a stop or two in the fourth quarter with a 10-point lead and couldn't get it. Georgia did. But I just go back to what Coach John Summerall told me when we did our Tulane Tuesday on the week that Tulane played Ole Miss. And he basically said, hey, listen, if you don't jump out to a fast start, you're in big trouble against Ole Miss. Because now they got you playing and they're laying the traffic. And if Ole Miss can get off to a fast start, I think they got a real shot here to pull off the upset against Georgia. A lot of firepower with Trinidad Chambliss. I know Kawan Lacey's sort of banged up, but I think he will make a huge impact. And just that system and covering those receivers is really difficult. It's going to come down to Ole Miss's defense making some critical stops here. But I like the Rebels. I really do. And it's a long time. Well, I'm just telling you that when you don't play in about a month and then you got to play again, it's not a light switch. You can't turn it on and off. And I go back to LSU plays Oklahoma National Championship a few years back in the Superdome, and Barry Switzer sat with Buddy Diliberto and I as we do in pregame, and he made the comment, the team that you see in late November, the early days of December, you never see them again. Either they get better or they get worse. And that's a long time off. I like Ole Miss here. I think they win the game against Georgia.
Mike D's picking Ole Miss, Georgia tomorrow night in New Orleans. All right, Mike D, let's go to Miami and Ohio State tonight. We've got the defending national champs. Ohio State's they're laying 9.5 in this game. Cristobal against Ryan Day. Who do you like in this one?
I like Ohio State. I just think they're the most talented team in the playoffs. And it just amazes me. When you lose 13 people via the draft to the NFL and 4 other guys sign undrafted free agent contracts and you this damn good, man, this may be Ryan Day's best coaching job ever at Ohio State. They are loaded on defense. They got 2 of the best wide receivers in the country. With saying that quarterback, man, Indiana beat them, but I think that might be the last time they get beat. And I like Ohio State to beat Miami. My thing is Miami can hang with them in their front 7 defensively. The big question mark, can Carson Beck make those plays? Critical third down conversion plays. Um, that's a question mark in my mind. I'm going with the Buckeyes.
All right, so right now we've got Ole Miss and Ohio, which, by the way, they're on the same side. All right, so the winner of the Miami-Ohio State game and Ole Miss-Georgia game play in the semifinals. Mike Detillier on the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone ESPN, powered by Sound and Communications for your next video wall for your business or school, soundcomav.com. Mike D's picked two of the winners. Here we go. All right, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., Oregon, Texas Tech in Miami, Hard Rock Stadium. Oregon's laying 2.5. You going with the Ducks or you going with an upset?
I'm going with Texas Tech. We had on Pete Jenkins. Pete works with Oregon's defensive line, and he works during the spring and then during the summer months as they lead up into camp. I had him on last week, and I asked him about Oregon. He said, Mike, they're not as good as they've been the last couple of years. He said, I worry about, their defensive front. He said, they're explosive now on offense, no question about it. With Dante Moore at quarterback, you got a tight end who you rarely see a guy who's that talented, that athletic. And they can run the football pretty well. I worry about their defense. And James Madison put up over 30 points against them. And people were like, well, that's what they gave up in the fourth quarter. Don't give it up in the first quarter. They didn't play great defensively. I like Texas Tech. They are sort of built up front like an SEC team. And I think Tech pulls off the upset here and beats Oregon.
Mike Detillier on the Out of Bounds Show. College football playoffs start tonight, and it's brought to you by Stella Artois. Tonight we got one game, Miami, Ohio State, and then as Mike knows, we got 3 tomorrow, one in his backyard, Ole Miss and Georgia. Now we'll go to Bama, Indiana. This is wild. Kurt Cignetti, coach for Nick Saban, all right, years ago at Alabama, recruiting coordinator, and then boom, he ends up at Indiana. And I never thought I would see this in modern era college football, or maybe ever. Indiana's a 7-point favorite. So let's go out to Los Angeles in the Rose Bowl, Mike D. Who do you like, Bama or Indiana?
I'm going to take the points in Alabama here. I just think this is going to be a razor-close game between both teams. I'd like to see if Alabama could run the football at all, but they haven't been able to do that all year long. They've struggled. Indiana's losing their top edge rusher, and there is no next man up. That's a bunch of baloney when people tells you that. Again, that's great to say in the locker room, but it's not reality. I think Alabama has a legit chance here to pull off the upset. You're asking me to pick the winner, I'm going to go with Indiana, but I think this may be the razor-close game I think all of them will be fairly close. But I think this one really comes down to the end. Maybe Indiana wins it by a field goal, but I would take that touchdown that you're getting here in Alabama, because I really got to believe that Alabama will play well. You're going to get Overton back, who gives you a big man up front who can get after Mendoza. And sometimes you're better off with a loss during the year. That's a lot of pressure to carry throughout it all. And again, if you look at the buys last year, all 4 of them lost. Man, I'm going to go with Alabama in the points here, but I do think Indiana squeaks out the win.
All right, so here we go. Mike Detillier on the Out of Bounds Show. He has picked Ole Miss to upset Georgia. Georgia is a 6.5-point favorite. This is weird to say. We've got Kirby Smart against Pete Golding, among other coaches. And I assume, Mike, that don't you think Lane Kiffin will make an appearance on TV tomorrow night during the game?
Don't be surprised he shows up with the governor of the state of Louisiana, who's got a suite there in the Superdome. That Lane wouldn't show up. Come on. It's Lane being Lane. Come on. He's not going to miss this. I'd be shocked if he didn't show up.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Lane, and who knows the two teams better than Lane? He's already played Georgia, so he did all that prep, and he played them last year too, beat them, and lost to him, as Mike just referenced in a close game. So not only is he attracts eyeballs, but he will know what he's talking about when it comes to analysis on the two teams. All right, Mike D, let's go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And Darren Woodson, 15 modern era players have been announced as finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class. And why do you think it's taken Darren Woodson so long, all right, Cowboys DB, so long to get to this point, Mike D?
Secondary people, unless you got a ton of interceptions, it's not what the voters are looking for.
Yeah.
And he was one of the few, or one of the early hybrid safeties.
True.
That played in this game, because he played up front a lot, almost like another linebacker. And yet I thought he was a good man in coverage also. But I do think the interception part plays a big part in it. And sometimes it's timing. I think about Ricky Jackson with the Saints, how long it took before he got into Pro Football's Hall of Fame. My thing is, who the hell's doing the voting for this?
No.
Willie Roaf, who was a dominant left tackle, he didn't go in year one. He got in the second year. My thing is, what more did you want to see from Willie Roaf that you wouldn't have voted him in year one? So sometimes guys have to wait. And I think with Woodson, he may have to wait a little longer. Because this year's class is sort of loaded. Last year, the one guy that surprised me that did not get voted in was Luke Kuechly from Carolina. Okay, his career was not this 12, 13-year career. But when he played, he was the best interior or inside linebacker in the game. We've had on Drew Brees. Drew comes on weekly with us, and I'd ask him about Luke, and he was like, he's the best football player I've ever went against. The very best. And he would tell this story. I'd come up to the line of scrimmage, and he would bark the plays back to me. So he said, we were trying to get out of every call, because Luke would bark them right back to me what I had called in the huddle, almost like he had a hidden microphone. And he said, that was no fooling him on a play. He knew it just by how we lined up. He knew exactly what we were going to do, virtually every play. How many people can say that?
No, I mean, great player.
Not many. Luke Kuechly gets in, I think, this year, along with Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald for sure. Because sometimes I don't know why these guys try to tap the brake on the obvious picks. And then sometimes I look at some of these players, and it's like the Hall of Very Good. It's not Pro Football Hall of Famers, but they Hall of Very Good, but they get a little bit of momentum, and it gets them in. I'm surprised Woodson has not gotten in, but knowing how some of the guys vote, it doesn't surprise me one bit.
All right, so your two slam dunks are Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald, and then you feel really good about Luke Kuechly, linebacker from the Carolina Panthers. Is that right, Mike?
That's correct.
Okay. Give me a percentage on Eli Manning getting in this coming year.
I would think it's 50-50 with Eli. I kind of got a feeling he won't get in this year because Drew will get in.
Okay. I'm trying to look here. Yeah, I mean, this is a crowd. Adam Vinatieri would.
He's the best kicker of the last 15 years in the NFL when you looked at what he did. And my former neighbor, he's passed away now. It's like 2 years. He was actually in NFL Europe and they never called, and he couldn't remember anybody's name. He called him Alan. He thought he didn't remember it was Adam. He called him Alan, but then he got the nickname Dakota because he was from the Dakotas. And he goes to NFL Europe. He had really never left that area of the country, and so you had to train in Florida, and then they sent you overseas. And he said, he was so wide-eyed, he didn't know anything from anything. But he said, the first time Luganville was the head coach.
Yeah.
And he's like, Joe, he said, you got to coach special teams. Joe was like, I never coached special teams before. He said, nothing to it. He said, there's nothing to it. Why don't you coach it? He's like, no, he said, I want you to coach the special teams. He said, I walk out there. There's a veteran deep snapper. Guys played in the NFL. And he said the holder was a guy who held in college and had seen a short stint in the NFL. And he said it was Vinatieri. And he was like, hey, kid, how you like the ball held? And he was like, well, coach, when they sent it to me, I want it pointed forward. And he was like, pointed forward? You don't want it held back? He said, no. He said, I'd much rather kick it if you pull it forward. So he put it forward, and he said, I heard it the first time he kicked it. And I'm like, okay, guys, y'all got it? Snap it to him and then point the damn ball forward and let him kick it. They playing the Rhine Fire, and he was like, he's sitting on the bench in the final seconds, and we trying to move the football to get him a little better shot at it. And I said, hey, listen, if it's anywhere from 48 to 55, he'll hit it. It ended up being a 53-yard field goal attempt. He said, Adam's on the bench, and he's throwing the helmet up, like you would have a ball and play pitch and catch with yourself. He said he was doing that with his helmet. So he tells him, hey, Dakota, get out there and kick the damn field goal. And he said they had 7 seconds left. So he said he puts the helmet on, he snaps it, and he says, Coach Clark, how much time do you want me to leave you on the clock? He said, what do you mean? He said, I got 7 seconds. He said, just kick the damn field goal. So he said, man, all of a sudden I feel the wind start to change direction. He said it didn't bother Vinatieri at all. Hit it, and he said, I'm telling you, Mike, he cleared the bar by at least 5 yards. It was 53-yarder. He never watched it. He said he hit it, and he ran toward the sidelines for his kicking tee, for the kickoff. So the first time the Patriots played the Rams for the Super Bowl, and they lining up to kick, he called me, and he's like, he ain't going to miss it. I'm just telling you, he's not going to miss it. He said, I've been through this before with him. Sure enough, he bangs it through. Then they play the Panthers, and Jake Delhomme, who Joe had coached in NFL Europe also, he's like, man, I hate to even watch it because Jake's going to end up losing this game. He's going to hit that field goal. And I think it was either a 48 or 50-yard field goal. And he told me, I've never been around a kicker like him. And he said, I played with Lou Groza, who's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a kicker when Joe was the backup quarterback with the Browns. He said, but Vinatieri, ice water. He said, I've never been around a guy that no matter the situation, nothing bothered him. And he said, I watch kickers on the sideline sometimes. They almost like animals in a cage. It's up and down and up and down. He said, how you go to the zoo and you see like a certain animal, he walks up and down, up and down, up and down. He said, Vinatieri sat on the bench, play around with his helmet, look up in the sky, almost like he's asleep. He said, I've never been around any kicker like him mentally. He said, because most guys really, there's some nerves involved. And so they get up and walk around in a circle or walk back and forth. He said, you never saw Vinatieri do that. Vinatieri deserves to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If he gets in this year or not, I don't know. But I always remember because Joe wasn't good with names. And, I mean, to the day he died, he called him Alan. He never realized his name was Adam. He called him Alan. But he really always called him Dakota. But he said, man, I've gotten so many phone calls about, man, you did a great job coaching Adam Vinatieri, in NFL Europe. He was like, Coach, I might have told him a word.
Oh, that's great. So for our listeners, Mike Detillier just referenced Al Luganbill as the head coach over in NFL Europe in the mid-'90s. And that's Tom Luganbill's dad. And we have Tom on just about every week, like we have Mike on. He's one of our, 3 regulars. And that is a fantastic story on future Hall of Famer, maybe not in 2026, but at some point, Adam Vinatieri, who y'all know played for the Patriots and the Colts. Jackson, how many Super Bowls did he win? 3 with the 4? 3 with the Patriots, 1 with Indy? Okay. Wow. Mike Detillier on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We've only got a couple of minutes. At some point, Mike D., does Reggie, this is too crowded a class like you're talking about it in 2026, but at some point down the road, and I got 2 minutes here, does Reggie Wayne get in?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
I remember him as a high school player. And he got recruited to Miami of Florida. They had a bit of a pipeline back then. Ed Reed also left Louisiana to go to Miami of Florida. And Riley, also the defensive lineman. But Ed Ogeron started it. And then Curtis Johnson, who was the longtime wide receiver coach for the Saints with Sean Payton, former Tulane head coach, he recruited Reggie Wayne to Miami of Florida. And Reggie got overshadowed. There was, that it was a star-laden team with Edison James, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
And
Dallas Clark.
And Dallas at tight end. Man, so he kind of has gotten overlooked. I think Reggie will eventually get in. He certainly had put up the numbers to do it, just like I think Jason Witten. Could you ask a tight end to put up any better numbers than what Witten did? Frank Gore, who tore up his knee not once but twice in college, and look what he did in the NFL. It's amazing. But and Reggie, great hands catcher.
Yeah.
He knew how to run these in cuts, and it was his ability to get out of a cut and a break so smooth. And we cut up film for receivers when we bring them to the camps that we have here to show. And some of it is involving Reggie Wayne because he was such a good route runner. And he was so quick to get in and out of a cut and a break. A lot of times guys have to stop before they make that cut and a break. He didn't. He could smoothly get out of that and, man, get into that break, and then he's up the field, and you got trouble.
One of the best route runners in football history. That was Mike Detillier. Mike D., Happy New Year. We'll talk next week.
Thanks a lot, Bo. Appreciate it. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mike D. We love you. Mike Detillier on the Out of Bounds show, and we've got another hour coming up.